A very good evening to our viewers. Thank you for making time and be with us on tonight's edition of the Evening Review. My name is Tewan Jabela, your host for the night. Tonight on the platform we are joined by Esther Simasiku. She's a senior communications officer for the Namibia Statistics Agency, and she's only here to really help us comprehend the next phase of the census, national census exercise that took place towards the end of last year. Thank you, Esther, for making time. I think let's get into the subject, because we thought that census is done and we are seated here waiting just to hear how many million people are in Namibia.
Yes.
Now we are told there's another process. If you can walk us into that.
Yes, so with the census we have 3 phases.
Yeah.
You have the planning phase,
Yeah.
which is where we get the mapping of the country, and from this mapping then we come up with things that we call the enumeration areas.
Yeah.
This is done to just help the people that are going to conduct the census to work in small manageable areas.
Yeah.
After that process is done, then comes the census itself. Once the census is done, we have what we call a post-census, which is a post-enumeration survey.
Yeah.
Basically, this survey is just done to make sure that there was no under or over coverage of the enumeration, and also to look at the quality of the data, of the census data.
Okay.
So after that is done, then comes a matching operation that is done in the office.
Okay.
So what happens is with the PES, post-enumeration survey, which we call PES, once that is done, and maybe let me also mention that it's a survey, so it's not a total count.
Okay.
So what we do is we run a random sampling where we just go to certain households, so that we just check whether the quality of the data is of good quality.
Yeah.
Was there an under or over coverage of census? Once that is done, we hire people that we call matchers. So they sit on a computer with the census data and the PES data to see whether this data speaks to itself. And like I mentioned, it's only done to check the quality of the data.
Okay.
So if this data is not matching, this is where we now go for a reconciliation phase.
Okay.
And that's why we are here.
I see.
Yes.
So, hypothetically, if there was an over, you called it over what?
Overcount.
Overcount or undercounting. If either of those scenarios were to emerge out of this exercise, what happens next? Are you going to send back people, the soldiers, to the front again?
Yes, and this is where the reconciliation comes in. So we are going to send people back to the field, but it's not going to be the whole country like the census did. It's just going to be in areas where the PES was conducted.
Okay.
So if your household was not conducted during the PES, they will not come to you. And like I mentioned, a survey is assumed that it's a full representative of the entire country. So we go, and some of the cases that might arise would be that, in Africa we have 3 names at most.
Yeah.
So if the census record shows that there is a Esther Simasiku, then the PES shows my second name is Maduve Simasiku. So there is a possibility that it's the same person, but we are not really sure because of the names. So we need to go and find out whether this Maduve and Esther are the same person or not.
Okay.
Yes.
Has this always been the way census was conducted all along, or the NSA has developed this as new strategies just to ensure that the outcomes are solid?
I'm not sure about the past. Yeah, but international standards shows that you should have a post-enumeration survey, and it should follow all these processes just to ensure that the census is, the quality of the census is assured.
Yeah. The does this exercise require a lot of resources? Like we know that part of the reason why census was delayed by almost 2 years and only took place last year was due to lack of resources. Will this take up a lot of those resources? Do you still have something in the kitty, or how do you go about this one?
Yes, it does require, like I mentioned, we will have to hire people. We will have to hire vehicles. So those are the resources that we would require. So yes, to answer your question, yes, we will require resources. Yeah. And maybe just to mention that from the onset, our budget included this phase as well. So it was fully budgeted for.
Yeah. I have to put this question to you. I hope you've gotten permission from your superiors at the office, but there were issues around payment of your enumerators. Is that resolved now, or do you still have people knocking on your door to say, please pay us? People went for Christmas without money.
Yes, I was really hoping you would not ask about payments. But yes, I think, speaking under correction, I think we have done most of the payments that we were supposed to do. Okay. Of course, people might ask, but why did it take so long? Look, these are public funds, and they have to be accounted for. Yeah. So like we have been mentioning last year, there was a lot of verifications that we needed to do. So that is why sometimes some payments really took long. Yeah, and like we mentioned, we are still going to pay people. Okay. If we owe you, we'll still have to pay you.
That's important assurance. So let's go back to this subject again. So the post-enumeration survey, when is it kicking off?
Yes, we'll start on the 1st of February and end on the 14th of February. I like the date 14 because it will ring in people's minds. It's Valentine's Day. Yeah. So yeah, those 2 weeks, 1st to 14th February.
Okay. Just so that I understand you correctly, you said this phase is office, this exercise is office bound, or you have to have people out there in the field again coming to my house or wherever it is to verify this information?
Yes, the one that I mentioned, office bound, is called the matching phase. Okay. But this one, the reconciliation, people have to go back to households. Okay. Yes, because they need to ask, is it Esther Simasiku the same person as Maduve Simasiku? Okay. Yes.
And this, you said it will take place in selected sample sort of areas. It's not going to be
it's not going to be everyone. Okay. It's just going to be selected. So like I mentioned, if someone was contacted during the PES, there is a possibility that they might come back to your house. But if you are not, they will not come back to your house.
Okay. Now just repeat the last point. You said if
you were not part of the PES, of the sample, then they will not come to your house.
Okay. Yes. But everyone in the sample, it is assumed that they had already gone through the initial phases. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I know that conducting census, for the record, I was an enumerator myself in 2001 when I was a very young man. And I remember that we encountered a lot of problems. People opposed to the entire exercise. Some saying, yeah, you take my data and then what? You're going to give me a job? Are you going to change my situation? And even in this sample, you are likely to encounter some sort of resistance. Yes. What do you have to say to people who will be contacted by your team during this phase?
I just want to appeal to everyone to really participate, because we are really trying to ensure that this data is of good quality. And in the long run, we are actually not doing it for ourselves, but for the Namibian public. Because you might say, I'm young, or government has not done anything for me. 2 years from now, you'd want to start a business, and you don't want to start a business without any data. So we really want to make sure that this data is really what is on the ground, so that even when the people are planning, they are planning on data that is factual, that is real. Because imagine we now come and report, for example, that we are now 1 million people. And then you go to the government and you say, no, we need hospitals. What is informing the coming up of hospitals? We need to have truthful data as much as possible to say, when we have this data, this is what we are planning with. You are very right when you say, people say, no, but I've been giving you my data, I don't see any change. Unfortunately, that is not NSA's mandate. Our mandate is to collect the data, compile, and disseminate. So, but we would really want to disseminate data that is truthful as much as possible. So if people are not really forthcoming, then there will be a challenge of reporting, because what we get is what we report.
Before you go on a small break, Esther, just because the assumption to many people is that your census is only geared towards establishing how many people are in the country, but I suppose you have built in some other elements in this questionnaires to determine other
aspects.
Yes. Is that so?
Yes,
what kind of other things can you recall?
Yes, that's very true. It's not just to see the population of the country, but we want to see the radius actually of how far is a clinic from a village, for example. How many schools, how many people are literate, how many people are married with certificates or traditionally. You will see also the excess of sanitation, for example, the access to ICT. It's quite a lot of products. In fact, after the census, we are going to have what we call thematic reports, where you have your disability report, your fertility, mortality report, migration. Within Namibia, we want to see where are people coming from, where do they move to. Like I remember in 2011, most of the people moved from the north to the coast. It will be interesting to see if someone wants to know why are they moving to the coast. Yes, so it's not just about the population.
Wonderful. We go for a quick break and then return for the last part of the show.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Our conversation with Esther Simasiku continues on the evening review. Now, Esther, this exercise, how long will the reconciliation exercise take in one household? Again, because people say, yeah, no, we are busy, we want to go wherever, but how patient must I be with your officials? How long must I be with your officials?
Yes, like I mentioned, it's mostly a verification process, so it will not take so long.
Yeah.
Approximately 5 minutes they'll be done, or even less.
Okay.
Because like I mentioned, some of the cases would not really require a lot of time. Yeah, because some of them would say Esther is married, but maybe in census they say she's married with a certificate. In PS she's married traditionally.
Yeah.
So we just want to verify which of the statistics is true.
Okay. And in terms of the people who are going to carry out this work, are you going to retain some of the enumerators that you've used recently, or are you going to call for new people to also apply? And either way, how many people do you need for this exercise?
Yes, we are going to take from the people that we already used for this exercise, and this is done just for us to not have a lot of time training new people again. At least they understand the processes of the project, and it will be easier for them to even identify the households where the challenges might be. So for the PES, we are going to hire around 364 staff from all regions. Out of this, only 280 are going to be deployed. For all the regions, we are going to have 6 reserves for eventualities, just in case maybe someone gets a permanent job and they want to leave, or they are sick. Someone needs to jump in so that the work continues. Okay.
And I mean, you had a huge population of enumerators that helped you with a major exercise. How are you going to identify people from that group and say, oh, you come back, we have another job for you? You are not needed anymore.
Yes. It is a tough decision, but it has to be done. Of course, we are looking at those that really passed with flying colors. You know, I think it's easier to work with those that really have an understanding of the project than those that look like they don't really grasp the project itself. So we're just looking at their pass rate, because when we are training them, initially when we trained them, they wrote a test as well, just for us to test whether they understand or not.
Okay. And so that process as we speak is, you already have your people selected and they are ready to go into the...
Yes, they will have a 2 days refresher training, which will take place 29 and 30.
Today and tomorrow?
Yes, today and tomorrow they are already in training, and then 31st they will be deployed now to their different areas of work.
Yeah. The other thing, at the time of the major exercise, the actual census exercise, was around the logistics, vehicles, and the vehicles that were needed, and people were scrambling. Everybody wanted to bring their cars, even a car that doesn't start. People wanted to bring it.
Yes.
So, how are you dealing? Do you need vehicles again, or are you going to use your own for this exercise?
No, we will need vehicles because it's well above the NSA fleet that we have right now. So what we have done is we have gone back to the database again of all the people that have brought in their cars and they were inspected and they are of good standard. We are going to get from those. And we are going to use those that were not used either in census or PES, just so that we give a fair share to everyone. Okay. Yes, so we are going to need around 112 vehicles. Okay. That will be needed for this exercise.
Yeah. The The final question to you, Esther, is then when are we expecting the outcome? Eventually, now to say now there's a big announcement at NSA.
Yes.
It's now the population census announcement.
Yes. So the results will be announced in 2 phases. There is something that we call a preliminary result.
Yeah.
That we are looking at the first phase, maybe between now and March. We are still going to be given a certain date. And then we are going to now have the basic report, okay, which will cover all the aspects of census. So with the population, we'll know maybe in 2 months' time, we'll be able to tell the nation.
Okay. I thought that was going to be the last question, but the very last one is this one. So, because usually we do this exercise every 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah. So it means then that around 2033 roundabout is when we can expect the next one.
Yes.
Okay. Now, wonderful. Thank you, Esther, for coming to the platform. We wish you the best for the final touches of your exercise. We hope it produces credible and informative results going forward. But thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, wonderful. That's Esther Simasiku. She's a senior communications officer at the Namibia Statistics Agency, just filling us in on the continuation of the process of census in Namibia. Thank you for watching.
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nhh.com.na.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.